How to navigate the moving goalpost. I remember when I had finally graduated with my master's degree, and my deputy director congratulated me, and he said to me, "Beverly, they can never take this away from you." But there was something he and I hadn't anticipated. Today's conversation is about something that affects many people, and that's the endless pursuit of getting credentials and the moving goalpost that seems to follow no matter how much one achieves. Let's talk about it. What that deputy director and I could have never anticipated was how the system, no, they couldn't take away my degrees or my credentials or all the experience I had, but what they could do was reinvent the rhetoric that could make it seem like what I had achieved no longer mattered. You've likely heard that Black women are statistically among the most educated groups in this country. And let's explore why that is and why it matters. Have you ever asked yourself why education became so important? Well, there was a common message that higher education is the key that unlocks doors to better careers, leadership positions, and financial stability. That with enough degrees and certifications that you will finally be taken seriously in professional spaces. So many people felt the need to acquire more qualifications than their counterparts because of the systemic barriers and the biases. So education wasn't just about personal growth, but it became a form of protection against discrimination and marginalization. But I want you to consider something. How much disappointment has all this education really helped you escape? Are you truly free from the belief that if you had one more degree, one more certification, and one more line on your resume, then you'd finally be seen as worthy? Think about this. How many nights have you stayed up studying, not just from passion, but from a desperate need to prove yourself? How much free time have you sacrificed serving on boards and committee, trying to demonstrate that you belong in spaces that really should have welcomed you in from the start? Listen, I sat in countless meetings listening to people gently be asked to be addressed by their earned titles, not from a place of vanity, but because those letters behind their names, they weren't just letters. They represented years of sacrifice, determination, commitment, and this service to excellence that they worked hard to achieve. And then here's what happened. You achieve all this education and more, only to find that suddenly education is no longer the standard for meeting qualifications. So now you're overqualified, you're too ambitious, maybe you're too direct, or maybe you're too introverted, or you're not assertive enough. But whatever the reason, you know that you could run circles around some people in leadership, yet you keep getting passed over for these positions, even though you have more education, more experience, and yet here you are questioning your worth again. You've achieved so much more, but the goalpost is always moving. You know this isn't a coincidence. This is how the system of exclusion operates. They tell you that education is the way forward, and then you excel at that, and they change the criteria. So how do we redefine success and worth? How do you know how to overcome the moving goalpost? Well, first, you recognize systemic barriers. When you understand that your struggles aren't personal failures, but rather the result of systems designed to create self-doubt, it becomes easier to navigate them. These systems, whether we see them in the workplace, in the educational institutions, or society at large, were often established without underrepresented people in mind. Think about moments when you've second-guessed your accomplishments, your qualifications, that you felt like you didn't belong. This isn't a personal weakness. It's a predictor response to navigate spaces where your presence challenges historical norms. And when you understand this context, it helps you separate your true worth from external validations, systems that weren't built to recognize your unique contributions and your perspectives. By recognizing these patterns, you can begin to see criticism, microaggressions, and institutional barriers for what they are, not reflections of your capabilities, but systems that resist change and diversity. Number 2, defining personal success metrics. See, society bombards us with narrow definitions of success, and they're often centered around titles or salaries or public recognition. But true fulfillment comes from aligning your work with your personal values and vision. I want you to consider what energizes you. Is it solving complex problems? Maybe it's mentoring others. Is it creating new systems or work-life balance? When you clarify your personal definition of enough, you start to create a compass that guides your decision, and it helps you recognize that you've achieved meaningful success. One of the things that I do for my clients is I map out a vision for them that outlines what success looks like. And I do this so they know when they've hit that marker and they're not running trying to finish some imaginary finish line. So what this might look like, it might mean turning down some job that would compromise your well-being, or it might mean not pursuing a path with less external recognition but greater personal impact. Because when you operate from your own metrics, rather than chasing some external benchmark, you start to build a career that feels authentic, and this is more sustainable. Number 3, build supportive community. Listen, this journey of achievement is not to be traveled alone. So a supportive community serves as a mirror and a scaffold, reflecting your true value while providing support when obstacles arise. You want to look for spaces where you can be your whole self, where your professional identity, cultural background, personal interests, your unique perspective, who you are welcome. And this might be professional networks, mentorship circles, informal groups, or just like-minded people who understand your experiences and your circumstances. You see, these communities provide not just emotional support, but practical resources. There's information sharing, opportunity connections, and collective wisdom about navigating challenges. They remind you, or they should remind you, of your worth when the system tries to diminish it. Celebrate your success authentically and provide honest feedback from a place of genuine care. When you find people who value the entirety of you and who you are, you create a foundation of support that makes advancing while maintaining authenticity possible, even in the most challenging environments. Listen, some of the most powerful people don't have corner offices, but they are the ones quietly helping others. They are speaking truth to power, and they are creating spaces where others not just live, but are thriving. And it's time to ask some hard questions. Are you chasing credentials because you truly want them, or because you're trying to prove your worth to a system that may not acknowledge it? Are you defining success on your own terms, or are you using someone else's yardstick? Let me ask you this. What would it look like if you stopped trying to convince others of your value and instead operated from an unshakable knowledge that you are already worthy? What impact could it have if you use your voice not to gain approval, but to create the change you wanted to see in your home, in your workplace, and in this world? How could you make a meaningful impact? Could it be by being consistent? By living up to the values that are most important to you, by being the person you are inside? I believe that when people know better, they do better. And there are times when information comes, but the readiness to receive it isn't there yet. But when someone is ready to make a change, life makes sure that they hear it from the person they need to hear it from. The system, it wasn't designed for you winning on its terms. So it's time to start playing by those rules and play by your own. You are enough, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are. And no moving goalpost can take that away from you. Listen, I'm trying to grow this channel, and I want this channel to be a voice for good. And I want all spaces to be representative of the country we live in. So please share this video, like it, comment on it, and subscribe to this channel. I also want to set a goal to get 1,500 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. So please watch this video through and watch other videos. Also, let me know what you want to hear. I'm relatively new to YouTube and I'm putting myself out there, and I'm also challenging you to put yourself out there too. I want to support you and your leadership journey, and we're stepping out together.